The rain fell in furious sheets that evening, the kind that blurred headlights and soaked through clothes in seconds, the kind that made the streets look colder, harsher, and lonelier than usual. Maria tightened her coat around herself as she hurried from the bus stop, already exhausted from the double shift she had just finished. She could feel the water seeping into her shoes and the sting of cold wind slicing her cheeks, but she pushed through, thinking only of her little daughter waiting for her at home. It was then, through the downpour, that she saw the old man struggling to cross the street, hunched over, trembling, each step slow and unstable. Something about the way he clutched a small grocery bag with shaking hands struck her. He looked like someone who had no one left in the world. Something in her heart pulled her forward, overriding her exhaustion. She had no idea that this small moment, this simple act of stopping in the rain, would change the entire course of her life. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and stories that warm the heart, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Whispers of Kindness to help more people discover these inspiring journeys. Maria approached him with a softness in her voice, guiding him off the puddle-filled road, sheltering him beneath her own umbrella while the rain hammered down around them. She felt the weight of his frailty as she steadied his arm, realizing he must have been walking for a long time. His clothes were soaked, his breathing unsteady, and his thin frame trembled with cold. When she learned that he lived 2 streets away but could barely manage the walk, she didn't hesitate. She urged him toward her old, second-hand car, insisting he get in so she could drive him home. Inside, the smell of wet fabric filled the small vehicle, and the old man's tired eyes glistened with a mixture of gratitude and disbelief. Maria drove slowly through the storm, careful on the slippery road, asking questions gently, sensing that the old man was someone who rarely spoke and hardly received kindness. By the time she dropped him off at the dimly lit porch of his small house, the rain had lightened, and he stood there looking fragile yet deeply touched. Watching him struggle with the door, she silently wished someone, anyone, would look after him. That night, after putting her daughter to sleep, Maria couldn't shake the image of the old man from her mind. She knew how loneliness felt. She knew what it was like to have no one to lean on. Ever since her husband had left without warning, life had been a series of battles she fought alone, rent overdue, bills stacking up, job shifts piling one after another until she barely had time to breathe. Her life was a constant race against time and circumstance, and yet, even with so little, she felt compelled to help others. She believed kindness wasn't something you gave when you were comfortable, it was something you offered because you understood the pain of going without it. The next morning, while preparing breakfast and getting her daughter ready for school, she assumed her act of kindness was just another forgotten moment in the world, a quiet gesture that would fade with time. But fate was already weaving threads she couldn't yet see. Later that afternoon, as she arrived at the small cafe where she worked, she noticed unusual whispers among the staff. Her manager asked her to step outside for a moment. There, waiting in a black car she didn't recognize, was a sharply dressed man with an expression both serious and unreadable. The sight made her nervous. She thought maybe she had done something wrong, or perhaps someone had complained about her. Her thoughts raced, but what came next left her stunned. The man introduced himself as the son of the elderly gentleman she had helped the night before. He had flown back into town urgently after receiving a call from his father, who rarely reached out to him at all. The old man had described Maria's kindness in the rain, how she helped him walk, how she drove him home, how, after many years, someone treated him like he mattered. His son explained that he had returned expecting to find his aging father struggling alone, but what he didn't expect was to be told about a stranger who had stepped in where even family had failed. He had been searching for Maria since morning to thank her personally. Maria listened, overwhelmed, unsure why something so small was being taken so seriously. She told him she only did what any decent person would do, but the man shook his head. Not everyone does what she did, he said. Not everyone stops in the rain. Not everyone gives time they don't have. Not everyone shows compassion when they themselves are hurting. His father had always been a proud, distant man, but something about her gesture had softened him in ways his own son had never seen before. At first, she thought it was just gratitude, nothing more. But soon, things began to unfold in unexpected ways. The next week, Maria received a call from the old man's son asking if she could come by their home. She hesitated, unsure what this was leading to, but her curiosity, and concern for the old man, guided her. When she arrived, she found the house warm and lively, filled with caretakers and renovation work. The son explained that he had decided to move his father in with him, to take care of him properly now, but before doing so, his father had begged to see her. The old man, sitting in a comfortable chair by the window, reached out and held her hand with surprising strength for someone so frail. He told her how lonely he had been, how he had regretted shutting people out, and how her kindness in the rain felt like the world giving him a second chance. Then, in a voice trembling not from age but emotion, he asked his son to bring out something he had prepared. The son returned with a sealed envelope, placing it gently in Maria's hand. Inside was a note and a document that made her legs go weak, a signed paper offering her a job in their company, a stable position with a salary far beyond anything she had ever earned. She couldn't understand why. She had never asked for anything. But the old man had insisted. He wanted to give her a chance at the life she deserved, one where she didn't have to choose between her bills and her daughter's needs, one where she didn't have to crawl into bed exhausted every night and pray for a miracle. He told her that people who give selflessly deserve to receive without fear. Maria cried quietly, overwhelmed by the sudden shift in her life. She had always worked tirelessly, cleaning tables, wiping floors, helping customers with a forced smile, but now someone was finally helping her. It felt surreal. She accepted the offer hesitantly, unsure if she truly deserved such a blessing, but the old man's son reassured her that this wasn't charity. It was recognition. It was the return of a seed she had planted by simply being good. In the weeks that followed, life began transforming. Her new job provided stability, dignity, and hope. She learned skills she had never been taught, and she grew confident, respected, valued. With her improved income, she moved into a better apartment, finally giving her daughter a warm, safe space to grow. She even had time on weekends to rest, to breathe, to rediscover small joys she had forgotten existed. And through it all, she stayed connected with the old man. She visited him on weekends, helping him with small things, talking with him for hours. He told her stories of his youth, of mistakes he regretted, of love he lost, and of the loneliness he had lived with for far too long. Their bond became something deeper than chance. It became a testament to how one moment of compassion can change two lives at once. But fate was not done yet. Months later, when the old man peacefully passed away, Maria was devastated. She had never known her own grandparents, and this man had filled that void without even trying. At the reading of his will, her heart nearly stopped when she learned he had left something for her, a modest sum of money, enough to secure her daughter's education for years. It wasn't fortune, it wasn't luxury, but it was safety, it was hope, it was love passed forward. His son approached her afterward, telling her that his father had spoken of her endlessly, calling her the light that came to him in the rain. He said she had taught him the meaning of kindness, and for that, he would always feel indebted. Maria hugged him, tears streaming down her cheeks, grateful not for the money, not for the job, but for the reminder that goodness never truly disappears, it returns when you least expect it. As life moved forward, Maria continued working at the company, continued raising her daughter with strength and tenderness, continued practicing the kindness that had once saved her spirit. And every time she saw rain pouring outside her window, she remembered the night she stopped for a lonely old man on a cold, stormy street. She thought about how easily she could have walked past him, how easily fear or exhaustion could have pushed her forward. But she didn't, and because she didn't, her life had blossomed in ways she never could have imagined. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Whispers of Kindness. Your support helps bring more real, emotional, and life-changing stories to the world, reminding us all that even the smallest act of compassion can ripple into miracles. Before you go, please comment. Kindness changes everything. Your words help spread goodness further than you realize.